Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharyaji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you physically present here at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome all of you that's watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that are going to be watching this discourse on YouTube and in the various groups when it is subsequently posted therein. Our topic for discussion continues. Vishishadvaita is pure Vedanta, part 3. Upon my return from South India last year, and with the advice given to me by Chinna Jeeyar Swamiji that I should expound Lord Sri Ramanuj's Vishishadvaita, we were confronted with some miscreants that were taking and trying to hijack Lord Sri Ramanuja's Vishishadvaita. And in order to quell this apparent hijacking by those miscreants, we found it necessary to teach the world not only Vishishadvaita running parallel to other philosophies, but to show Vishishadvaita as the ultimate and only purport of Vedanta. It now became necessary when these miscreants began tampering with this absolute reality to not only expound this philosophy but also to refute those philosophies that are not part of Vedanta. So if you want to know what Sanatan Dharma is, and if you go to the internet, you will find the internet stating that Sanatan Dharma has 6 philosophies. One of those philosophies is Vedanta, and in Vedanta there are 3 sub-philosophies. One, Advaita philosophy, which is monism. 2, Vishishadvaita, which is qualified monism. And 3, Dvaita, which is dualism. This is how the internet will describe Sanatan Dharma to you. This description is totally false. This description is totally false. Sanatan Dharma only has one absolute knowledge system, and that is found in the Vedas itself. The Vedas are divided into two sections. One, the ritualistic section, and one, the spiritual science section. The ritualistic section of the Vedas was deliberately put in by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Narayan, to entice the human kind into practicing Vedic injunctions within the Vedas. So this first part of the Vedas is absolutely necessary. It is used for enticement for mankind to start to open the Vedas. However, this enticement, like all other enticements, is temporary. Enticement is temporary. When man opens the Vedas and he performs all these rituals that are prescribed therein, there will come a time in man when he will realize the futile existence of the ritualistic portions of the Vedas. And man will realize that there is something more, something permanent than the temporary gratification of the ritualistic portion of the Vedas. And this is why the Vedas are portioned in two parts. To entice you, to bring you in, and through that enticement, to make you aware that this ritualistic portion of the Vedas only give you temporary relief and gratification. And man's intrinsic nature is to search. Man's intrinsic nature is to search. And you would have heard in the news recently, those of you that are of an inquiring mind, how many of you all heard of Vikram? Not Vikram Mathura, the radio presenter. Vikram, the space shuttle. You all heard of Vikram? That has recently landed on the moon? Or not, I'm not too sure, but last I knew that Vikram was hovering, or supposedly hovering over the moon a few days ago. You all heard of Vikram Bhai, the space shuttle? It's because man wants to search. Man, it is the intrinsic nature of man to search beyond and find out and savor in knowledge, because the soul, the essence of the soul, or one of the attributes and qualities of the soul is knowledge. So in this search for knowledge, man has sent an equipment now out of space. Alright? There is so much of knowledge still to attain on earth, but man has left now earth to go to outside earth. Has he not? Yes. Similarly, this was God's intention when he used the ritualistic portions of the Vedas to draw man in from absolute ignorance into obeying and understanding that there is a cosmic order in this universe. There is a cosmic order in this universe And once you are enticed, your mind will want to leave the ritualistic portions of the Vedas, like man left earth and went to attain knowledge out of space. For man to evolve from the ritualistic portions of the Vedas to the scientific, spiritual science portion of the Vedas, which is called the Upanishads. It is man's nature. It is man's nature to inquire, to investigate, to search for the ultimate truth. The real search is for the ultimate truth, but bound in karma, we look for this ultimate truth in material things. The ultimate reality is we searching for this ultimate truth, and this ultimate truth is explained in the Upanishads. If man reads the Upanishads, immerses his consciousness in the Upanishads, then man do not have to fly into outer space, because all the information is already contained within the Upanishads. Every information that is required by man has been provided by his manufacturer, in inverted commas, with the handbook called the Upanishads. Then, within the Upanishads, if there is any contradiction that man cannot understand, God has created the Brahma or Vedanta Sutras. The Vedanta Sutras has 554 or 44 verses. Is it, yeah? The Brahma Sutra, which has 544 verses, explains the apparent contradictions in the Upanishads. The Brahma Sutra is aphorisms, small one-liners and two-liners, which explains the apparent contradictions in the Upanishads. And then we have the Bhagavad Gita, wherein Lord Narayan himself incarnates in this material world as Lord Sri Krishna and speaks the Bhagavad Gita, which consolidates the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Brahma-sutras. You understand? And if you immerse yourself in the study of these Vedantic texts, then there is no reason to fly to the moon. The answer is already given in the, yes, there's my 3 girls in the back. They really enjoyed it. You can turn around and go and film them. These 3 girls in the back, they are our future generation. And they smiled simultaneously when I said, if the answer is already in the Vedas, why do you have to fly to the moon and waste your time? Save money if India saves all the matams of Lord Sri Ramanuj. Take the same money that India used to build this craft and start the Gurukul again. Then there'll be no need for Vikram Bhai to fly to the moon. The answers are all on earth already. The answers that they're seeking in the moon, that will take them thousands and thousands of years, is already contained on planet Earth. Just fly to the Upanishads, find a Sri Ramanuj ashram in India. These scientists from India should find a Sri Sampradaya ashram. There are hundreds all over India. Go and enlist as a disciple. Surrender fully to the Guru system, and all this information that you are seeking in this material world, this information will be revealed to you. Guaranteed. All the information that you are trying to seek in this material world will be revealed to all the scientists. And it would not cost you so many billions of rands. It would not cost you so many billions of rands. I think you just have to buy a dhoti, go to a gurukul, go to an ashram, surrender to a guru for free. Then when you glean this information, and I'm talking to the scientist, after you glean this information through revelation, then you as scientists give this information now to the scientific world. To the scientific world, that it is not necessary to fly to the moon, either physically or send instruments to the moon. All the answer you want to look for, that you think the moon will give you, you'll get through the Upanishads. You will get through the Upanishads. But you have to join the spiritual university of Sri Vaishnavism. You have to join the spiritual university of Sri Vaishnavism. Any other university is not giving the Upanishads as it really is. As it really is. Okay? So coming back after this trip from the moon, the Upanishads in the main discuss three realities: the individual soul, the supreme soul, and material nature. The Upanishads in the main discuss three realities: the individual soul, the supreme soul, and material nature, and the relationship between the three. The relationship between the three. The relationship between the individual soul, the supreme soul, and material nature. Because if you look around, that is the only thing that exists. Doesn't it? If you look, you see that the trees are shaking. Looking outside, you can turn your camera, it's windy. There's some bush and there's trees shaking. Contained within each tree is an individual soul. Contained within each tree is an individual soul identical to yourself. Identical to yourself. Your karma gave you this body, and the soul that's seated in the tree, its karma gave him the body of a tree. Rishi, are you shocked that you could be sitting as a tree? I know you'll want to be a great tree. Forever. Eternal grape tree, Rishi, but you don't have to go nowhere. Alright? So, I described the wind. The wind is material nature. The earth on which the tree is rooted is material nature. The sun that is shining on the tree is material nature. The cause of the blowing of the wind is the Supreme Soul. The cause of the shining of the sun is the Supreme Soul. The cause of the earth in which the tree is rooted is the Supreme Soul. The cause of the body in which you, the soul, is situated is the Supreme Soul. And now we want to, the Upanishad clarifies this relationship between the individual soul, the Supreme Soul, and material nature. And this is the job of the Upanishads. All of you understand? So Vedanta means end of knowledge. Vedanta, Veda means knowledge, and Anta means end. Vedanta means end of knowledge. End of knowledge means when you started the Vedas, you started from the ritualistic portion, and when you finished the Vedas, you finished it in the spiritual science portion, and after knowing spiritual science, there is nothing more to be known. And this is why the end portion of the Vedas is called Vedanta. So it means that you started in the rituals, you completed a few million or billion lifetimes in the ritualistic portions of the Vedas. Now you are in the spiritual science portion of the Vedas. And it means the end of the Vedas. It means the end of the examination that you write. If you are loyal and sincere to yourself, if you are loyal and sincere to yourself, then you will conclude your life in this ashram. In this ashram, and when you conclude your life in this ashram, then you would have passed your last examination in this human body. Passing that last examination in this human body would be passing Vedanta, will be passing Vedanta through self-realization and God realization. The ritualistic portions of life give you, fulfills your sense gratification. Fulfills your sense gratification. And that's all it does. It doesn't tell you who you are. It doesn't tell you why you are here. And it doesn't tell you where you can go. It only gratifies your sense gratification. And you are in the same position. You are rowing a boat with a big hole underneath the boat, and you are busy pulling the oars. And there's the Taj Mahal there, and you are here, and you want to go to the Taj Mahal, but the distance never ever shortens. Life after life after life after life, time billions and zillions of life, the distance between your rowing boat and the Taj Mahal never gets closer. because there is a huge hole in the bottom of the boat, and the oars of ritualism won't take you to Taj Mahal. The oars of the first portion of the Vedas won't take you anywhere. You are rowing the oars of the first portion of the Vedas, you are performing your rituals. I don't know, Shanti Beni, how many zillion puris you made in all your human forms. Alright? But Taj Mahal is still, and your rowing boat is still, Just now, in a few years' time, you leave this body. You'll get another human body. You might be a girl, you might be a boy. It depends. Would what knowledge you left here, that is the knowledge you'll take your next birth. If you leave here with total surrender, then you won't get another birth. Then you'll go to Taj Mahal. Then you'll go to Taj Mahal, and that Taj Mahal is called Vaikunth. That Taj Mahal is called Vaikunth. Nobody has reached Taj Mahal through the first portion of the Vedas. Because the first portion of the Vedas is designed to keep you. The first portions of the Vedas is designed to keep you here. And the second portion of the Vedas is designed to send you to Taj Mahal. Okay? So there are many travel agents that come up from time to time. And they want to give you packages. They want to give you packages to go to Taj Mahal. If the travel agent is not in the Sri Sampradaya, in the Sri Ramanuj Sampradaya, if the travel agent is not affiliated to the Sri Ramanuj Sampradaya, you might get far as the rowing boat. You'll see the Taj Mahal in front of you. You will see it, but you'll never get inside. You'll never get inside. So there's many philosophies. There are many philosophies, and hundreds and thousands of people are following these philosophies. They can see the Taj Mahal. They'll never enter there unless you get a travel agent from the Sri Ramanuj Sampradaya. Then you'll get a package deal to go through the Taj Mahal called Vaikunth. So it is our job now to tell you that these other travel agents are not licensed. They just mushroomed and popped up. They are not affiliated to Lord Narayan's Department of Tourism. Because I think the Ministry of Tourism or Immigration will give you documentation to go to that Taj Mahal, Vaikunth. Alright? You also have fake passports. You all heard of fake passports. We discussed the same thing as counterfeit money. Alright? So coming back to validify what I am saying, Vedanta does not have any sub-branches. Vedanta is Vedanta. Vedanta is Vedanta. Nowhere in the Vedas is it written that Vedanta has 3 sub-branches. And nowhere in the Vedas it is written that 6 philosophies are to be found in Sanatan Dharma. And you can choose any of the 6 philosophies. There's one travel agent states in his books that each philosophy is a rung going up a ladder. Nowhere in the Vedas is it stated that these 6 philosophies will lead you to one philosophy. You understand? So there is only one philosophy. Only one philosophy, and that philosophy is contained within Vedanta itself. If Vedanta is absolute, then why should it be divided? If Vedanta is absolute, what's the reason for it to be divided into sub-philosophies? So let me explain to you what has happened. So there are 3 distinct streams of information that is compiled in the Vedas. One is the difference between the individual soul, the Supreme Soul, which is called Brahman, and material nature. This stream that explained in the Vedas will be called the analytical verses within the Upanishads. What analytical means? Sorry? It will show specifically the qualities of these 3 entities. Will it not show specifically the qualities of the 3 entities? Because it's analyzing, it is saying, this is the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the qualities of the soul. And this is the qualities of material nature. So this stream of verses in the Upanishads are called analytical verses. Then there is another set of verses called the unitary verses, where it is showing the oneness, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the soul, and material nature. So what one travel agency has done is taken the oneness only, and sold it as a package to liberation. Liberation means your flight ticket. Your flight or boarding, it's called boarding passes now, right? Alright? So this one travel agent has taken the oneness, the verses that is describing the oneness only. And he has stated that the Upanishads is only teaching you oneness. that you are identical to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then another travel agency has taken the differences and sold that package. So you can go to the Taj Mahal. Now if we say that the Vedanta is absolute and one set of verses say you are one with God and another set of verses say you are different from God, then there is an apparent contradiction. Is there not? Is there not? How can there be contradiction in absoluteness? Can there be contradiction in absoluteness? So these two travel agents, they sifted out verses to suit their own philosophy. Wherever there's man, there's pride and prejudice. Wherever there's man, there's pride and prejudice and sectarianism. What is sectarianism? What is sectarianism? From the whole to cut and demarcate a portion. From the whole, what is the whole called? Universalism. It encompasses all. Sectarianism means to take a portion. So if you got pride and prejudice, you'll take a portion at that point in time which is suiting your mentality. Are you understanding? So one set of people decided to take oneness, and one set of people decided to take dualism. But I'm stating that Vedanta is absolute, so there can be no contradiction. No contradiction. So the compiler of the Vedas is Veda Vyas. Vyasa means compiler and Veda means knowledge. So the compiler of this knowledge of the Vedas became known as the title Veda Vyas. That Veda Vyas, 5,000 years ago, in this Brahma-sutra, he refuted the oneness philosophy and the dualism philosophy. When 5,000 years ago, Veda Vyas in this Brahma Sutras, in the 544 verses, he refuted the oneness and the dualism. It's already refuted. This Srila Veda Vyas, he writes all the Vedas. Aside from the Ramayana, Valmiki's Ramayana, he writes all of the Vedas. Can one author contradict himself? That contradictions that were apparent to humankind, he reconciled with the Brahma Sutras. He reconciled with the Brahma Sutras. So this information is already there when 5,000 years ago. This information is existing. The contradictions of these two philosophies have already been refuted by the author of all the Vedas himself. When Kali Yuga set in, also came man's ignorance grew deeper. Up until 1000 years ago, after Vedavyas refuted these other two philosophies of Advaita and Dvaita, these philosophies shot up again. When you pull out a weed with blackjacks, you are so happy your garden is clean. Rishi, you got a garden? You got blackjack trees there? And they are a nuisance, isn't it? And when you pull out the blackjack tree, you are so happy. I weeded this blackjack tree out. But those black seeds you sprinkled, alright? And after a while, after a month or two, your beautiful garden gets invaded again. And this is nature. This is nature. You clean up, it gets dirty, and you clean up again. And basically this is what I am doing now in 2019. Srila Vedavyas did this in 5,000 years ago. Lord Sri Ramanuj cleaned the garden 1,000 years ago. And 1,000 years later, I'm raking and trying to weed out this garden of false philosophies. Of false philosophies. Now, when you see thousands of blackjack trees all over, can you change its status of a weed because they are in thousands, and say no, now it's a plant? You see? Can you change the status of a blackjack, which is a weed, and say because they are in the thousands now, then it has become a plant? A weed will always be it doesn't matter how many millions of them exist on this planet Earth. Even if one rose exists in proportion to 1 billion blackjack weeds, that one rose will still be a rose. And those billion weeds will still be 1 billion weeds. It does not matter on the amount of weeds as opposed to the amount of roses. Because people are telling me now, Acharyaji, thousands and thousands and thousands and millions of Hindus are believing in this philosophy. They are like the blackjack weeds. The sprinkler sowed the seed of the weed in your mind. I'm only weeding your mind with the weed killer called Vedanta. And it's up to you whether you want to open your mind So the weed killer Vedanta can exterminate all the weeds for eternality, so that your mind will be absolutely pure and you can plant the lotus of Lord Sriman Narayan in your mind, on which he will sit. On which he will sit, and you only have Lord Narayan as your thought, and none of the blackjacks can appear. So the Guru is using Vedanta to kill the weed of false philosophies. It is not something new that the Guru is doing. Is it something new? Veda Vyas did it 5,000 years ago. That means before he compiled the Vedas, there were weeds. Isn't? Lord Sri Ramanuj did it 1,000 years ago. Weeds crept up again, and now these weeds were trying to steal a few roses that we have left, which impelled me now to refute and destroy all the weeds, so that the Sri Sampradaya can shine again in its full glory. Chinna Jeeyar Swamiji initiated this process a while back, where the Sri Sampradaya is spreading to the Western world. The Sri Sampradaya has spread to the Western world. Alright. I am stating again that I am an insignificant dust particle at the lotus feet of the entire Sri Sampradaya. However, every Guru is born with a specific task. If I am not in an ashram in India, I am in an ashram in Africa, and if my mother tongue is English, then it is only logical that my part as a Guru is to give you Vedanta in English. So that is all that I am doing. And if there's technology available, and I went to metric, I was quite intelligent in school, I also went to university, then it is not necessary for me to take a plane and fly to all the continents and spread this news in English. I'll use Facebook Live. I'll sit in one place, conserve my energy, speak in one discourse, speak to the whole world and make the world a classroom. Make the world a classroom. And in saying this, I want to encourage all those that have been stuck in other philosophies to use this world classroom, to use this world classroom in a positive manner, and engage. Not only engage with me, because it might become cumbersome, but all the information that I'm giving you exists already on the internet. All the information that I give you exists already on the internet. I'm just lighting the fire of Sri Vaishnavism in your heart. Use your fingers, your mind, and your data. Fingers, mind and data. Go to Advaita philosophy and read what's there. Go to Vishishadvaita philosophy and read what's there. Go to Dvaita philosophy and read what's there. And as I give these discourses, you will have a background and an understanding. I do not have to sit here and prove Vishishadvaita. I merely make you aware of Vishishadvaita. You prove Vishishadvaita. Who? You. Because you have the means to prove Vishishadvaita as absolute. And I'm talking to those millions that's already in other institutions, that billions and billions that are in institutions that have been created through philosophies that are not Vedantic. You understand? And everyone can prove Vishishadvaita. The Guru is not proving Vishishadvaita. Vishishadvaita is the absolute truth. Why should the Guru prove the truth? The Guru should only enlighten you with the truth. You prove the truth yourself. And this is what we're going to call the world is my classroom. Like the Vaishni, her name has to be mentioned in every satsang. She gets projects all the time. She gets, of which she has to use the internet, because all the answers are found in the internet. So I am giving this project to the world. The project called Vishishadvaita is absolute Vedanta. The world must do this project, because through information technology, knowledge is at their fingertips. At their fingertips. So the world, including those of you here, you must go and research what I am saying. You must research what I am saying. So coming back to conclude, there are three streams of injunctions in the Upanishads. Verses that explicitly show difference between Supreme Personality of Godhead, the universe, and the individual soul. Verses that show unity between the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the soul, and the universe. And the third type of verses would show that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, these are the mediating verses. It's called the mediating verses. The Supreme Personality of Godhead lives in every soul and also lives in every atom. So where is the contradiction now? Is there a contradiction? Are you getting it, Rishi? If the Supreme Personality of Godhead lives in every atom of material nature, and if he lives in the soul of every soul, can there be three entities, three distinct entities? No. Why? because it has one common substratum, that is God. If God lives in every atom of material nature, if He lives in every soul, then can there be a distinct difference between the three? No. These are called the mediating verses. These verses, the analytical verses, only show that there is a difference between the three, but they are inseparably connected to each other. The Supreme Personality of Godhead owns the individual souls and material nature. Who owns? The Supreme Personality of Godhead owns you and you and you. He owns you, Hemita. He owns you. You are an attribute of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are an attribute of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And your body is also an attribute of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead lives in your very soul. He lives in your very soul. He also lives within every atom of your material body. He also lives within every atom of your material body. But He is not you. Rishi, don't get happy on your way home and tell your wife that you own her and the children because you are Lord Narayan. And maybe you also own Lord Sri Narayan Dham. Alright? You are distinct from Lord Narayan. You are, although He lives in you, you are distinct from Him. So when He lives in your soul, then your soul becomes the body of, your soul becomes the body of Lord Narayan. And when He lives in every atom of the material nature, then material nature becomes the body of Lord Narayan. So material nature, Lord Narayan, individual soul, they are different but inseparably connected to each other. And that is called Vedanta. And the purport, this explanation that I gave you, is called Vishishadvaita. And this is the original, true, absolute purport of Vedanta, because if Vedanta is absolute, then not one verse from the Upanishad must be left out. Isn't? So these philosophers that claim oneness, they leave out other two types of verses, don't they? They leave out the mediating verses and they leave out the verses with differences. And those philosophers that claiming dualism, they also leave out two types of verses. The verses that claiming Vishishadvaita, the reconciliation of the two verses, and the verses that are claiming oneness. Who gives anyone the right to leave out any verse in the Upanishad if it was spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead? No one? Are you understanding? So my three girls in the back, no going to the moon if the answer is at Sri Narayan Dham. No going to the moon if the answer is at Sri Narayan Dham, and not only at Sri Narayan Dham, it's in every Sri Ramanuj ashram that's existing today in the world. Every Sri Narayan ashram, every Sri Sampradaya, the full knowledge is contained within the Sri Sampradaya, which means you can only get the absolute truth in Vishishadvaita. All of you understand. And I hope this classroom that we're creating around the world, in years to come, they prove Vishishadvaita themselves. So my intention is not to create a conflict, my intention is to educate you. If you're in the wrong school, come to the right school. If you are in the wrong school, come to the right school. When you come, how you come, why you come is left upon you. If I know the absolute truth, then it's my duty, through the grace of my Guru, Swami Sudarshan Acharyaji Maharaj, to give you the information of my Adi Guru, Swami Sri Ramanuj. Okay? Any questions?
If Vishishadvaita is the absolute philosophy, then what is the need for the other two philosophies to exist?
Well, I want you to go on the commentary section of today's discourse, ask that question and answer it. Amita Singh, our camera woman, has asked the need for the other two philosophies. She's on internet. I think she has a guru. You have a guru? So she might inquire from a guru later. But she will today, in a huge commentary on this discourse, ask the question and answer it herself. Alright? The answer lies in my preceding two discourses. The answer lies in my preceding discourses and contained within this discourse. Thank you very much. Lord Narayan is great. When people don't want to work, Lord Narayan within their own souls activate them to do some, because he's living in every soul and every atom of everybody. Now you believe in Lord Narayan, Amita? Thank you. Right? Our camera woman concludes that Lord Narayan is indwelling in a very soul that prompted her to ask this question so that she could research it properly and post it as a commentary. She has worked for a few days now. Jai Shri Narayan.
Jai Shri Narayan.